you made news recently because The Big Bang Theory is everyone's favorite show. Apparently, there was a reunion backstage at a show, and
sitcoms that surround groups of friends often do well because of their relatability. Think of the phenomenon that was Friends. When The Big Bang Theory came out, it was a somewhat risky move. These weren't ordinary friends, but a group of nerdy, awkward scientists. Would people be able to relate to them? The show didn't just vibe with audiences, it was one of the biggest hits of the 21st century. Reaching that point meant sticking to a formula that worked no matter what. Keep watching to learn about the rules the cast was forced to follow on The Big Bang Theory. We don't talk about the pilot. Believe it or not, The Big Bang Theory almost never got aired. A pilot was put out, but it was nothing like the eventual final product that went on air. Lenny and Sheldon were the main characters, but Howard and Raj were nowhere to be seen. A streetwise girl named Katie filled the role of the only girl, but test audiences found her to be mean and unlikable. The show's creator, Chuck Lorre, decided to pivot instead of giving up. He turned Katie into the more likable Penny and added the rest of the characters the world came to know and love. He was so ashamed of the pilot, he refused to allow the cast to talk about it at all. They didn't for years, and many fans didn't know it existed until snippets showed up online. No Marvel superheroes. Superheroes are an essential part of nerd culture. That meant they had to be included in a show like The Big Bang Theory. The main four characters are often found in their local comic store and dress up as characters like Batman, Superman, or The Flash. They also debate over who's the best one. The strange rule was that many popular heroes had to be left out. Marvel co-creator Stan Lee cameoed on the show, and Sheldon was allowed to express his admiration for his creations. But he couldn't dress up as them. Only DC hero costumes were allowed. DC Comics were also the only ones allowed to be plainly visible in the comic store. The reason? It would have been a conflict of interest for Warner Brothers, who owned DC. Promoting Marvel, a major competitor, would have meant promoting their rivals. No eating. The showrunners of The Big Bang Theory were sticklers for continuity between shots. Using real food can make this difficult. Portions disappear as they're eaten between shots. The showrunners also wanted to maintain authenticity, so unlike most shows, they used real food. Unfortunately for the actors, they didn't get to enjoy any of it. You'll see scenes of them trying to speak with their mouths full on blooper reels, but that was only for outtakes. In actual scenes where the characters need to eat, the actors are just pushing the food around with a knife and fork. They'll spend entire scenes at restaurants or cafes without ever eating any of the delicious food on screen. Always be ready to flash dance. Not all the rules surrounding The Big Bang Theory have to make sense. Some of them were nothing more than a way to relax after filming. Kaylee Cuoco took 2 weeks to choreograph a routine to Carly Rae Jepsen's Call Me Maybe. Eventually, the entire production crew pulled it off in a flash mob. The audience was so thrilled it became less of a rule and more of a tradition. The crew of The Big Bang Theory had to be ready to pull off a flash mob at all times. They've done routines to songs such as Uptown Funk, Gold Digger, Run the World, Girls, Larger Than Life. No ad-libs. Most comedy shows allow their actors to ad-lib. Many of the best lines in TV and film weren't in the script, but thought up on the spot. The Big Bang Theory is one of the few shows that had a rule against it. Melissa Rauch, who played Bernadette, talked about it in an interview with the Huffington Post. She said that the cast had a tight script, and in her own words, quote, "You don't want to mess with what they write, because it's almost like this beautiful concerto that you don't want to mess up one note of." The ad-lib rule was set aside a few times. What about when Amy overreacted to the tiara she gets from Sheldon? Remember when she started shouting,
"Oh, it's a tiara! A tiara! I have a tiara! Put it on me, 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 put it on me."
What about her spanking scene or Bernadette's squeaky voice? The show wouldn't have been as beloved without these slight on-the-fly changes. Even the prominence of certain characters was allowed to be adjusted when their actors were simply too talented. Kevin Sussman played Stuart, who was meant to be a minor role. Then he told Penny he loved her. The audience loved his delivery so much, they tweaked the character to make him more troubled and made him a regular. No fake science. As fans of the show may know, Mayim Bialik, who played Amy, has a PhD in neuroscience. She was a science consultant at TTNT before being cast on the show. That allowed her to ensure all the terminology and images were legitimate. She admits she wasn't an actual writer on The Big Bang Theory, But she did help keep it sound, saying, quote,
"We have many talented, skilled writers who have a range of expertise, and with Google available, they can Google anything that they need to. Sometimes I'm asked to contribute to things like if we're in Amy's lab."
The cast also needed to take basic science lessons. They didn't need to reach PhD level, but they needed to have a general grasp of what their characters would be talking about. No beards. All 4 men had to remain clean-shaven unless it was part of a story for an episode. It's supposed to help maintain their geeky image. It's also important for that continuity the showrunners loved so much. If they showed up one episode with a beard, then decided to shave it for the next one, fans would notice. Fans noticed when Jim appeared at the 2024 CFA Fashion Awards. He had grown a beard for the play he was about to be in, Our Town. As he said,
"I grew it knowing that I was going to go into the play, but play didn't need it. Long story short, I had a talk with my barber, and I was like, 'You always have a beard.' He's like, 'Well, I kind of have a weak chin and blah, blah, blah.' I was like, oh, it can change the shape of your face." And I was like, "I want to try it."
Now that the show's over, the cast can experiment with their looks as much as they like. Put the minor girls in the back. The core 3 characters, Sheldon, Leonard, and Penny, always got top billing. They were put in front of any promotional material like posters. Howard and Raj were put behind them. Amy and Bernadette didn't even join the cast until season 4 and became regulars in season 5. The rule was that they always had to be placed at the back. This got relaxed by the final 2 seasons. All the characters felt more important by then, and all the actors were getting more balanced wages. That meant they could all share the space evenly. Always be ready to promote the show. Speaking of promotion, most actors who believe in a show or movie they're in are willing to promote it. There was a rule that the cast of The Big Bang Theory had to, no matter where they were. Even if they were being interviewed about a new movie they were starring in, they had to bring up the show as well. The rule was pushed even harder if a new season was coming soon. That kind of constant promotion is what paying actors $1 million per episode in the later seasons can get a studio. At least they got along well and enjoyed doing it. It's all over without the core 3. It makes sense that a show like The Big Bang Theory, which had such recognizable main characters, would want to use them as long as possible. They knew what golden geese they had and decided that if any of the main 3 left, the show had to end. The showrunners had seen what happened to shows such as 2.5 Men, Coupling, and That 70s Show. They managed to survive when the main characters were replaced or written out, but they had a drastic dip in quality and ratings. The showrunners of The Big Bang Theory didn't want to risk such a fate for their show. That's why it was eventually canceled. Jim wanted to move on after season 12 to spend more time on personal pursuits, and no one could play Sheldon the way he did. The extras had to follow rules too. Being an extra on The Big Bang Theory was as regulated but fun as it was to be a main cast member. One of them, a Redditor with the username @CTFDYDB, posted about his experience. He remembers going to the wardrobe department and bringing out a few extra outfits in case what he was wearing wasn't the right fit. They then found out about the rules surrounding wardrobe on the show. He said, quote, "This show is different than any other show I'd worked on in the sense that it was predominantly just about what color top you were wearing. They almost didn't care what it was. No logos or writing, though, as long as the color didn't conflict with what the cast were wearing. The food rule applied to extras as well. He wasn't allowed to eat during shooting, despite the delicious spread of food available behind the camera. Getting caught chewing during a take could mean having to redo a scene. These rules didn't keep him from enjoying time on the set. He said all the other actors were friendly and seemed glad to be there." Now it's time to hear from you. What's your favorite memory of The Big Bang Theory? Let us know in the comments section below.